How you feeling? Thank you for joining me. Got John Rigg'd here, and I love checking out new hardware, whether it be legit hardware, clone systems, emulation. Man, I love anything I can get my hands on, and my pleasure to show it off to you as well. And it's one of the things I like to do on this channel. So if you haven't done so yet, subscribe, please. I appreciate it. One system that I caught my eye immediately, and I'll tell you why immediately, is this. You can already tell what kind of system it is. This is the Super Players Entertainment System. It's a 16-bit. I don't need to tell you what system it emulates, right? But it's not an emulation. It's real hardware inside this thing. So we're gonna put it to the test. Now, what caught my eye on it wasn't just the fact that, yes, let's call it what it is. It's a Super Nintendo clone, right? But this one, which has the little dust trap, can do Super Nintendo, it can do Super Famicom, and it can even do PAL region games without any tricks or ports or anything like that. Just one port can do all of those. That's the beautiful thing about Super Nintendo, Super Famicom, and PAL, is it all uses the same chipset, but this thing takes care of all of that. So, in theory, I should be able to play Super Nintendo, Super Famicom, PAL, and I'm also going to test this out on an EverDrive, a multi-cart, a Super Game Boy, and we'll see what else I have laying around here. Maybe a Repro or something like that too. So let's pop her open, see what it looks like on the inside, and let's put it to the test. As we open it up, that's what it looks like. Get the power cord, 2 controllers, got the system itself. Yeah, it looks pretty cool. Oh, and the cool thing is, because it does Nintendo and Super Nintendo and PAL, it even includes the PAL region adapter. Yeah, that's pretty neat. Dude, that's a great... Good looking out, man. That's awesome. Yeah, it feels a little bit lighter weight than the typical Model 2 Super Nintendo, but that's all right. Button feels fine. That feels a little loose, but that's not going to bother me at all. If you're wondering about the back, there you go. Got those ports. No HDMI or anything like that, but that's all right. You put HDMI in there, it ends up boosting up the price. Something like this is perfect for what I need. All right, so this is the power box that it came with that plugs in via that. And then you choose. You can either have the PAL thing that slips on kind of like that, or thanks to that, you have the standard issue one of those things. So I'm gonna rock with this. I'm in the US, but cool to have this. Now this cord's pretty neat because it has the S video along with the other videos all intertwined in the same thing. Now the monitor I'm using doesn't have S video, so I'll just be doing the standard issue red, yellow, white cords. Does it have S video? No, it doesn't look like it. All right, no problem. Now, if this thing does what it says it can do, this will probably take precedence as a permanent mainstay next to my console over here. Because if I can do all those things on it nice and easy, keep my actual Super Nintendos nice and clean, out of the way, give the kids something like this to play on, hey, I'm golden. Standard issue Super Nintendo port as well. I bet you that your Super Nintendo controller will work on this as well. I'm just going to use what it came with though, because I want to test this out too. And while I have this in my hand, actually this feels a lot more sturdy. You can kind of tell a difference just by holding on to it, but this has like a pebbled surface texture. That's kind of cool. And these buttons seem really responsive. Now it does not have the beveled and concaved, but it does have the color scheme. And these start and select buttons, they stick up a little bit further than the standard issue controller, but that's all right. I'm not playing with those buttons anyway. I'm playing with these buttons over here. And these L and R buttons are kind of sunk in a little bit too. It's, that's all right. Not gonna bother me at all. Let's by all means, this is all about the games. Let's power up this sucker and check out some games over here. And because I want you to see this for yourself, I'm not going to patch this through to the game capture software. I want you to see that it really is doing what it's doing, all right? We're going to start off with, we'll do Pilot Wings. Actually, does it just go like that? Oh man, that is a really tight spring load there. Like, it'll rest right on top of it. Man, like, I wish you could, yeah. That spring is super tight, and dust is not getting in there anytime soon. All right. There you go. Looks good to me. Looks like Pilot Wings to me. Buttons are nice and tight. Again, the start button's popped out just a little bit, which shouldn't bother me, and it doesn't bother me. I just feel like I have to push it harder, which I totally don't. You already know what I'm going for, don't you? Can I say? Too bad I suck at this part. Alright, yep, see ya. I passed it without even doing the plane. Cool. Alright, so Pilot Wings works just fine. Now, I just realized there is no eject button on this. So if you want to eject it... Oh, these pins are pretty tight already. I haven't used this much yet, so... No. Come on now. Not good for my wrist. And I don't want to touch the label. The more you stress on the label by pulling it up, you end up fading the label. You see that when you find like Pokemon games for the Game Boy and it's all like faded. All right, maybe this is my Pilot Wing system. It's the only game I can play. I can't even take the game out. There we go. All right, Pilot Wings, good to go. Ooh. Should we? Yeah, why not? Now this one... There are some clone systems and some versions of this game, like when you play your legit Chrono Trigger, and I'll be able to find out with the title screen here in a moment. This part looks fine, and I turned the sound down. But it's when it gets into the, cinematic, like when you don't hit the button or anything like that. Sometimes some clone systems create these tracers on the screen when it does this opening part, so I wanted to pop this in to see if this would do that. Oh, perfect, yeah. Didn't have them at all. Sometimes like you have this weird like black lines shooting out from this side. This doesn't have any of that. That's all right. I like this already. Oh, and that one popped out just fine, so it maybe is a cross between my Pilot Wings and the fact that it was Pilot Wings of the first game in there. I don't think I'm gonna have that problem ever again. I know I was getting a little nervous thinking about putting them in Pilot or putting in Chrono Trigger. Maybe I wouldn't be able to get back out. Well, we know it can do Super Nintendo, but what about Super Famicom? Same port, that's all you need. Equips just fine. Turn that on. Looks good to me. Let's play around, shall we? This is a pretty fun game, too. You choose your wrestlers over here. Got the American guys. You got Hogan, Randy Savage, Earthquake, Bam Bam, Undertaker, Ravishing Rick Rude, Sting. This, which is all Japan Pro Wrestling, basically. This is where you'll find the $1 Million Man, Ted DiBiase. We'll do that. We'll do a Ravishing Rick Rude here. Make sure there's no glitches or anything. Love his taunt. Love it. Rick Rude. Classic. I love the Fire Pro games. Super Famicom works just fine. And now what about PAL region? Let's try some Poppin' Twinbee. Now this one, I don't know if it's going to be in color. I don't know if it's going to be overcharged or anything like that. I don't know yet. Or maybe it just needs to be cleaned. There we go. Ooh. No bueno. It recognizes it as a Super Famicom. Maybe I need to do something different to get it to work. Well, there is a switch, but I don't believe the switch is going to help me here. Let's give it a shot, though. And if not, I do have another PAL game that we can try. But maybe this doesn't do... Oh, it's at the bottom. Here we go. Maybe, just maybe, it does not do PAL games. Maybe it does. That's all it needs to do. Well, look at that. It's a little off-kilter, but you know, let's see if we still can't get it to work. Dude, I can tolerate this. I thought it was pretty cool. I actually didn't have doubts. I had my doubts that it wouldn't work. All I had to do was just flip the switch. I can play PAL games on this. How awesome is that? No, I understand the screen's a little dipped, you know, but it's all right. I can actually play my PAL games now. I don't see any enemies though. Oh, here we go. I was like, what did I do? So awesome. Finally, I can play my PAL games now. It's all in the same system. All I have to do is flip the switch. I'm going to try something else, so I better flip the switch back to where it was. Well, we got Super Nintendo, Super Famicom, PAL. So far, so good. Show me that beautiful Super Game Boy Advanced screen. Oh, man. Alright, Super Game Boy is good to go. I don't need to test this one. I can already tell just by looking at that. Now we're going to try an EverDrive. Boy, wish me luck. This is an EverDrive Classic Edition. I don't know how legit this EverDrive is, but this EverDrive does work on a standard issue system. And the light lit on, but I'm not seeing the menu screen here. If this doesn't work, it's not a deal breaker. However, I am curious to see if it would work. Oh, hey, there we go. Just didn't have it plugged in all the way. Start the game. I think actually it was the last game I played on this, which will be perfect for this, because I want to see the capability. Yep, that's actually great shooter here too. Looks good to me. Oh, glorious. Yeah. All right, EverDrives work. If your EverDrive works in any other system, this is going to work. This is one of the beautiful things about it being... Oh. There we go. That's what I need. I need the other gun. Nice. EverDrives work. That's cool. You know, before we get to the multi-cart, I want to see if a repro would work. This is that repro I did a while back. Oh man, this thing's gonna be super tight getting it in there too. So I'm gonna... Yeah. Well, the repro works. Remember I was doing this? Yeah. Okay. Well, I figured as much, but I just wanted to see it for myself. So repros work. And finally, the multi-cart. Actually, I had a question when I recently did this video of these multi-carts from RetroCircuits.com. They're like, well, does this work in a clone system? Now, it will not work in a Retron 5. Something like this does not work in a Retron 5 because of how a Retron 5 works. It uses emulation to basically dump the ROM onto the system and then play it from there. This, however, using real hardware, there you go. Works just fine. First time. Didn't have to blow into it or anything. There we go. Man. I want to try Mega Man X3 because it has a special chip in it that makes it so a lot of clone systems won't bother with it. Super EverDrives won't play on it. It won't play this game because of the extra stuff in it. But with this Super Player's entertainment system, looks like it has no issues whatsoever. Yeah, good to go. Well, what can I say? I'm impressed. It took everything we threw at it. Super Nintendo, Super Famicom, a Super EverDrive, talking about the multi-carts, repros, even some of the buffer games that some clone systems won't even bother doing. And that's the purpose of having real hardware, not emulation, running a game system like this, and for a great price too. Now I have a link in the description below. If you want yours, you can pick yours up today. My only gripes are there's no HDMI, which is fine. I mean, the monitor I use doesn't have HDMI anyway, but it would be kind of cool if this thing had HDMI. I know it would cost another $20 or something like that if it had an HDMI port in it. I understand that. This is really tight. Like, it'll bite your finger. Ow, like that. And the pins were super tight too, but I'm sure after popping in games, some of the games came out just fine. A couple of them I really had to work at getting them out. And that was a little issue for me, because I don't want to bend the pins or anything like that. Of course, if they bend, you can bend them back into place, but you don't want to do that. You don't want to have to do that. But for the price, for what it can do, for all the games that we threw at it, and every single one of them worked, including PAL. This is cool. Has that little switch on the back too. Now, I was having my doubts when it was like, you know, it doesn't work on a, this game doesn't work on this system. I was like, but this system is supposed to play it. And I looked at the instructions, and sure enough, there was a switch on the back. So now you know too. Man, pretty cool to have. And like I said, this now is going to reside next to the monitor for when I'm playing my Super Nintendo games, because I can do it all. And I don't need to use my converter. I don't need to use my modified Super Nintendo Mini. Did you see that? Where I took out the inside part of it so I can pop in any system. And especially with the PAL games, the fact that I can play PAL games on this with the flick of a switch, I'm gonna start looking for some PAL games I didn't have access to before now, because now I can. Are you kidding me? This thing's awesome. I'm a big fan of it. Thank you for watching. Again, the link in the description below if you want yours. And thanks for hanging out with me, man. This is awesome, and I appreciate any help I can get. So, you're awesome, and nobody can tell you otherwise, all right? I hope I get to see you at a convention sometime in the near future. In the meantime, thanks for everything you do. We'll see ya.